The Beat 139 featuring Doc, Don Vito, and Keith Cash. Harlem's number
What up?
one
What up?
show.
What up? What's happening?
What's good? What's good?
Start of the week, Monday. Special guest. Y'all know we don't do Mondays or Tuesdays or Thursdays or Fridays unless we got a special guest in the building. You know, what's up, Doc? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm always pumped. I could do 7 days. I'm built for this. You know what I'm saying? But we got great guests tonight, man. You're gonna go into some nice history. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the Beat 139. I'm Doc. Shake the block.
Don Vito, voice for the peoples. And check us out. It's like Doc said, I know this man right here a long time. You know, like he's always been a cool dude, laid back dude to me, man. I know him a long time. And this guy right here, we had to get him on the show. Should have got him on the show a long time ago. But, sometimes, you think it's the right time, but it ain't the right time till it's the right time. But today, without further ado, we got my man, Lenny The Barber in the building. Lenny, what up?
Peace.
How you, man?
Appreciate y'all having me out here, man.
How you doing, Lenny, man?
I am blessed, man.
Lenny,
Blessed
man,
to
before I even
holler,
go
baby,
into your story, I know you a long time, man.
Indeed, you have. You've been supporting me for a long time.
man.
Since
Long
day
time.
one, since Cheetah
Yeah,
Club.
early, man.
Cheetah Club. Man.
Yeah, back before that, the barbershop, man.
Oh, word, the
Sam
barbershop.
Gore's, man.
Facts.
We're gonna get into
We're
all
gonna get in
that.
that Cheetah Club and Sam, like, oh, man. Because, I used to get my hair cut on 45th, Sam Gore's.
Word. We were
Shout out
popping.
to Sam Gore.
Shout out to Sam Gore.
Shout out to his brother.
Indeed. Rich.
Yeah. Shout out to the whole Sam Gore barbershop family.
Indeed. That's where I started at.
Yeah, and then you came over, young Lenny.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We had to go to it.
You just start doing your thing. What I'm saying is that, right? Sam Gore is a barbershop was known for giving good cuts.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Like you go to Sam Gore, you one of them dudes in there gonna lace you.
Facts.
Y'all even had, I think, a Spanish kid or two in there.
Yeah.
That you know what I mean? But so let's talk about Sam Gore for a minute, man. The history of Sam Gore, that's an old school story that he's a legend, man, in the barbershop. We're like 2 different barbershops.
Yeah.
One between the block and one on Amsterdam, right?
Yeah. So I was blessed with working at Sam Gore's. My mom actually worked at my mom and myself worked at was called AT&T. Now back then it was 9X telephone company. And Sam Gore's wife, Valerie Gore, God bless you, Valerie. Mm-hmm. I think one day I went to my barber in New Jersey, Chris Valentine up in Inglewood, New Jersey. He worked at a spot called Brennan's Barbershop. Mm-hmm. And it was during Christmas holiday, and he whispered in my ear, he's like, yo, man, I made $500 in the last 2 days, not even the end of the day yet. And I'm like, what? How you do that?
Yeah.
So he was like, I was cutting hair, man. I was like, what? So next thing you know, that same night, I went out and bought me some clippers and started cutting my little brothers and my friends, giving out free haircuts.
So you were to cut prior?
Nah, I had never cut hair before. I was working at 9X and I just.
Oh, can we tell the timeline of this?
I'm not really good with timelines. I'll say this. I'm 50,
early 90s.
I'm 55 years now. So that was when I was 22, 23. That's when I started cutting hair. 22 is when I started cutting hair. So what's that? 27 years ago, something like that.
Man, that's the 90s, man.
Yeah, 90s. Yes. So I started cutting my little brothers and my friends. Shout out to my boys that let me lace them, hurt them at first because I didn't know what I was doing. But I
just started jumping on somebody's head cut.
Yes, I actually started cutting my own hair. Right. So I learned how to fade by doing it to myself. Right. And then I, started cutting everybody. But when you're cutting yourself, you satisfied with just even getting something that's halfway nice. You know what I'm saying? So when I started cutting my friends, I was okay, but I really wasn't barbershop material, so to speak. And my job at the time, I was making like $23 an hour or some shit like that, which is a lot for back then.
Hell yeah.
And one day my boss came, was like, yo, we're cutting your pay to like $18 an hour, which was still a lot from back then. But I was pissed. I was like, how you gonna just cut my pay like that?
That's $5.
Yeah, that's $5. So I ended up speaking to my mom about it. Well, yeah, I spoke to my mom, and I was talking to my mom one day, and she was like, well, Valerie's, Sam Gore's is, right? And I was like, yeah, I heard of Sam Gore's, of course. She's like, that's Valerie Gore is Sam's wife. I'm like, what? She's like, well, I can ask her if you can get a job. So she went and talked to Val. Val told me to come meet her. Like again, we all worked up at AT&T same time. Went to meet up with Miss Valerie, and she was like, "You want to work there?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, then you're gonna get a job there."
Oh,
And I'm like, "But how?" Like,
But you just started. You ain't.
Yeah,
you ain't,
I was so amazed that, mind you, that goes to tell you the power of the wife. You did. Because she didn't even go ask the husband.
Yeah.
Ask Sam.
She just put you in the
She
joint.
put me
she
in
said
the
you
joint.
got the job.
She said you got the job. And she's like, "Do you want the job or not?" I said yes. She said, "Well,
She probably running the house, man.
You go meet Sam on Wednesday." So I
right.
went and met with Sam. The magic number before I met with Sam, and mind you, again, I was making really good money. In order for me to pay our bills, my ex-wife and I, Gail, so shout out to Gail. The magic number was $336 a week that I had to bring in.
Right.
So I went to Sam. $336 is what I needed to bring in order for us to pay our rent, light bill, etc. A week
for Sam Gore or your first job.
For Sam Gore. In order for me to leave,
No, she's saying his household bills.
Yeah, my household bills. In order for me to leave this high-paying job, if I wanted to go chase my dreams, you got to bring in $36 a month. I mean, a week. I'm sorry. Right. So went to Sam, kicked it with Sam for a little while, and he was like, "Yo, you got the job." He was like, "Well, what kind of deal you want?" And I was like, "Well, I got to make $336 a week in order for me to even consider this." So he said, "I'll tell you what, man. The first $336 a week $336 you make, that's yours. You keep that. The rest of it, we bust down 60-40. And then when you ready, when you start making some money, we go 70-30. And then we go 80-20.
So Sam was a fair man.
Sam was a fair man. So he let me in. I ended up working there. However, I was the barber. Again, I told y'all before, I wasn't nice. I was just
you just want your little brothers and shit.
So I was the barber that all the other barbers would tease. Because when somebody comes to the barbershop, I'm like, "You need a haircut?" They knew I was going to jack homie up. You feel me? So, which was the gift and the curse. So, what happened?
Hairline
what
all twisted and all that.
Yeah. Oh, about my hairline, I was not good, bro. I was good at fading, and I was good at like a Caesar, and I could do lines pretty decent, but So I remember the barbers they would always tease me, man, all of them. And only there was two that didn't tease me. Gerald Gore never teased me. Mickey, shout out to Mickey, never teased me. Rich Gore never teased me. The rest of them, and T Hart. T Hart never teased. Yeah. Rest of them barbers, they all laughed and whatever, right? So so one day I had a client in my chair. I can't remember his name. Client? No, this is just a guy that came to the shop to get a haircut. He was getting Afro blowout back then, and he was like, he saw how they were teasing me. He would come get the chemical blowout back then. So he was like, "Yo, man, check this out, bro. I don't really care what my hairline look like. I don't care what my haircut look like, man. I just want to get out the house, man. I just came home. I just want to get out the house, man. My girl be getting on my nerves, man. I just want to come around and have some engagement with other people and, kick it in the barbershop, whatever. So that's why I'm here. I'll be here every single week, bro, until you get it right." Wow. He was an angel.
That's crazy.
So I ended up cutting doing his Afro blowout every week. And then other than that, for like the next 6-7 months, I wouldn't do anything other than a Caesar or a lineup. I wouldn't do anything else, and I would cut his Afro. Right. However, what I did was I studied remember Sam Gore was a big barbershop. We had
that shit was big.
14 barbers.
That joint was big.
Right.
So what I did do though was I studied every single barber's style. So I took his line, I took his Afro, took the way he faded, I took the way he washed hair. Rich Gore was the fastest barber I'd ever seen in my entire life. So I took some of his speed. I love the way Sam Gore did the Afro. So I liked his shape of his Afro. So I did his.
Sam used to cut my hair.
Yes, and then
Sam my ex-wife, he could do the mink.
Yeah, for sure. So my wife at the time, Gail, she was from DC. Back then, DC is where the temple taper came in at.
Right.
So I took the style from DC, mixed it with the Afro blowout. I'm the first. I'm gonna say it again. Let me look at the camera. I am the first person to ever start the temple taper in New York City.
Yo, talk about it, man.
Nobody was doing it. Nobody knew what it was.
Right.
And that haircut made me a lot of bread. So when I decided to come out and start cutting other people, I took his clients, his clients, his clients, his clients, his clients.
Now you're
his
taking
clients.
everybody clients.
I'm taking everybody clients. And I'm gonna stand on that.
Yeah, it's a hell
You
of a
heard me?
story.
Nobody can deny.
That's a hell of a story.
Hold on,
right
so
there, man.
this definitely great. So your first week with the dude, you said that was smart. You just did what you know. Okay, I do
Yes.
blowouts and
Yes.
sleeves. I'm not doing no fades, none
Nope.
of that, none of that. Okay, so you said the 336.
So 330, I made 336 a week for
Just I'm saying in the beginning,
yes.
just with that guy, and you said this with the blowouts and the
Yes,
sleeves.
yes. So all the money that came in, the first $336, whatever I made, because you know Sam Gore was busy, so we had a lot of walk-ins. Plus we were on Broadway,
Right.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
people.
we had a lot of walk-ins. So it wasn't an issue for him. He didn't even think about me making $336 a week. He just knew that he didn't know I could cut.
Right.
He did. His wife said hire him,
Yeah.
so I was in the shop, right? So I just remember like just cutting and just like sitting there and studying everyone, like just studying them.
Mhm.
T Hart also had an awesome afro, so I studied his afro as well.
Right.
Shout out to T Hart, man. And I just, like I said, I just kept cutting. I just kept doing what I knew how to do.
Mhm.
And then once I felt comfortable,
Mhm.
I started coming out.
So
and
that was
cutting
the
everybody.
one between Broadway,
Broadway and Amsterdam. Yes, closer to Broadway.
That's the first one.
Yes. And
All
then
right.
Gerald,
Right.
God bless the dead. Gerald passed away a couple years ago. Gerald had all the Dominicans. He had all the Wild Cowboys.
Mhm.
So if y'all remember the Wild Cowboys,
Yeah, the Wild Cowboys.
yeah.
Yes.
if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know any crew that was ill like them.
Right.
I can't recall to the day
Right.
who's ill like them. They got stories and books about these things.
Right.
So
Yeah, I grew up
feel me?
around a couple of them.
exactly.
Mhm.
So Gerald cut the bosses, Lenny and Nelson and Ruben, and he would throw me the workers.
Right.
So they didn't know. A lot of them were from Dominican Republic, and all they knew was whatever the boss said pay, they
Right.
paid me. So
Right.
back then a haircut was probably like $10-15.
Oh, $10.
Yeah.
Right. They gave me $30.
Right.
So my price ended up being $30 for a haircut, just automatically, because I was getting so much money from them
Yeah.
that I went from being a $20 to $15 barber to a $30 barber. So he wasn't
Don't
getting
make
much
sense
hair.
to cut nobody else say if I'm getting 30 anyway.
Yeah, there was no need. So I would so from there I just ended up cutting hair for the next year, building my clientele, and I decided to throw a party one day for my birthday. My friend Robin, and I forgot who else it was. We threw a birthday party for ourselves at a spot called the Brownstone,
Mhm.
which was the Brownstone. It was a brownstone in Harlem on 130.
Yeah,
that
fabulous.
was popping.
Yeah,
That
Chris
joint
with
was
Joe
popping. I
It
know
was
exactly
nuts.
what you're talking
Yeah.
about. The
Chris with Joe
Brownstone.
Hamilton.
Yeah, and so we did that party, and that was my first party I actually did. I didn't think about it as a business. I was popular at the time,
Mhm.
and so we just threw this birthday party. And I remember the end of the night, me and my ex-wife was counting the bar. We was like, wait a minute, wait. We just counted 20,000 just now, man. What the fuck? Between the door and the bar,
Right.
just made 20 racks.
Killed it.
We gotta do this again.
Right.
So went back to Robin, went back to the other, and Brucey B was DJing that night. Actually.
Okay.
Went back to Robin. She was like, I don't do parties. I don't want to do that.
Mm.
Went back to, I forgot who else we did a party with. Nah, I don't want to do no parties. I mean, wifey was like, we doing this shit again.
Right.
Spun the block, did it again.
Mm.
Banged out again, made another 20, 30,000 that night.
Right.
So then from there, that's what sparked my party.
Right.
My party, how you want to call it? I felt like a fiend after that. You feel me? Just like when you hustle and you make that first, you know what I mean? Like you want to go back
So
and keep
what
going
was
back.
the timeline for your first to the second party? A month, 2 months?
First party I did was during, so back then, I don't know if they still do it, but I guess probably the equivalent to what they do now is the Howard and Grambling game, the Grambling game back then.
That's October.
So it was
That's
that night. The Grambling game was playing that day, and we did the party that night. So we did like a quote unquote after party for it or whatever. But it was a mix between the Grambling people because I'm from Jersey, so we had a bunch of Jersey people come. But
That's one thing that was
also
in
had
your
Harlem.
favor too, though, because you had Harlem, right? You had Dominican area as well if they wanted to come. But you had Jersey because you from Jersey.
Facts.
So people fuck with you from Jersey, so they came across the bridge.
Indeed.
So you had a mixture.
I had an insane mix.
You know, see Jersey people want to see Harlem cats,
Facts.
and Harlem cats want to see Jersey.
Indeed.
So it was like a little mush.
Indeed.
thing,
Indeed.
right?
But that's true because I always thought you was from Harlem.
Everybody thinks so.
I always thought you was from Harlem. All this time
I'm
I
technically
know you,
from
I always
New
thought
York.
You was from Harlem.
I was born on the East Side from 91st and First. I moved to Jersey when I was the summer of 7th grade, and I became who I am.
Oh,
from
seventh grade? You was
Yeah.
12.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I became.
See, I-
you New York. You New
Yeah,
York.
I'm
Yeah.
from New York technically,
New York.
but
I feel, you know,
the way I say it is, I'm from Jersey, but Harlem made me because
Right.
I got my. I mean, although we do have swag out here in Jersey, but I can't.
Yeah, Harlem made you, Harlem put you on the map.
Harlem
Harlem
gave me
put
my
you on the map.
swag. Harlem gave me my.
So in the course
you
of
know,
the parties, right? So let me get into this, right? You had Jessica, right? Who was doing all the big parties, the white girl Jessica, Tunnel, all kind of big, you know, all the big joints with Chris Lighty. They was killing it at that time. And then Lenny came along, and then Lenny started killing it in his own little way.
So my marketing tactic, which I didn't know what marketing was back then. I'm never. And so one of the things you said is that I'm a bit on the low. So I'm not really the guy that most promoters want everybody to know that they were a promoter.
Right.
I'm not that guy. I like the bread. So I just want to bring people to the room and make sure they have a good time and count my bread at the end of the night.
Yeah, you don't even move around that much.
I'm not interested in everybody.
Yeah, you always been that's your style.
So my marketing tactic was because I was a barber and I knew that I was getting a lot of my clients from the barbershop. So a lot of people were coming into the barbershop to buy tickets. Also, also started me, was part of my growth, was Butch and Dennis from Sparkle Entertainment. Okay. So they're the ones who actually taught me the business of throwing events, and and because they were the gurus of the Get Fly shit back in the day, the Peter shoes. But then it was Sparkle. Like Sparkle had it for years.
Yeah, Sparkle Entertainment.
And I was Butch and Dennis's barber at the time. So
so you getting the talk while
yes, indeed.
In the game.
So shout out to Butch and Dennis. I believe Dennis passed away, but God bless him. So one of my tactics, one of my marketing tactics, which was the marketing tactic, I went to every barbershop and beauty salon in Harlem that I knew, Jersey, Queens, Brooklyn, gave out my flyers, and I would give each barber and beautician a ticket. So they will come, have a good time, go back to their jobs, and then start talking to their customers about the party. So that's what made me grow more and more. And I didn't, but at the time, like I didn't know what marketing was. I really didn't know what marketing was until I didn't even know that I was a marketing tool. So me being a marketing tool was me being in a barbershop in a place where there's an influx of traffic, where everybody's talking about the parties and we're handing out flyers. And I didn't know. I was just handing out my flyers, and I was also my own street team. So a lot of promoters also was too big to be their street team. Like I'm the dude with the backpack full of flyers, hand out flyers with my hat turned to low and going out, hand out flyers. So I did not mind putting in the work in order for me to bring, because to me, I go out, hand out, 30,000 flyers. I just need 300 people to come in the door. You know what I'm saying? So my ratio, the ratio was good for me. I got 300.
So one thing about you always looking for, you got the number in mind.
Oh yeah.
Starting
for sure.
with what you got the job at Sam Gore.
For sure. I do my best.
See how it built up?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you condition yourself. You trying to get a number, like you said, you and your wife. 30. When y'all made 20 racks, damn. 20 racks.
Yeah,
I'm gonna spend the block. Get another 20 and maybe even 30.
I had never
that
seen
number. You got the number.
Yeah. And y'all actually made more money because now it's less partners.
It's less partners.
You and your wife.
Yes. And then so from there, so we did. I think I want to say we did 3 of those. And then the owner of the building was like, "You can't come back here no more, fam. Your shit is too big." Yeah. So then we ended up starting. Then I forgot the first club, but then the second or third club I did was Metronome. No. I started doing parties with this crew called LSD, and then I did. No, I take that back. I did Metronome on my own. I had what was his name? It wasn't Spreewell. I can't remember the basketball player's name that I did an event with, and it was an after party for one of the Knicks games. And that night, we made 45,000
downtown.
Yes, 21st Street.
SNS
was DJing.
I remember that.
And that night, I made 45,000. That's when I really caught the bug and was like, I don't want to do anything.
No, I remember that because I went there with Anthony Mason. God bless the dead.
Indeed.
Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mason's my man. You know what I'm saying? So we should go out a lot. And every now Oak would come out. The Knicks was coming out back then.
Yes. We
had Spreewell and all of that.
Yes. I actually got a BOOSIE B tape one of my parties. BOOSIE B recorded, and Spreewell came in the building. You can hear him talking. Yo, Spreewell's in the building.
That's when the Shark Bar was open.
Yeah. I forgot what that party was downtown in the.
I know down
Asian district
down there, down low. I remember that too.
But from there, I ended up, God bless my hands and the ability for me to produce these noteworthy events, because they started working hand in hand. I would throw a party. I was Nelly's barber for a long time. I was Nas's barber for a long time. I was KRS-One's barber for a long time. So
how that happened? Let's double back.
Mhm.
Who was your first celebrity?
My first celebrity client was Shaquille O'Neal. My boy Jeffrey Sledge was an executive over at Jive Records at the time, and he was A&R at Jive Records. He A&R'd the Fushnikins' first album. And I was his barber.
From Jersey.
Yeah, and Shaquille needed a haircut, and he hooked me up to go cut his hair. So I was my first.
By the all about this is Sam Gore?
No, I went to him.
Oh,
yeah.
But didn't you? But a lot of the celebrities you got at that time, because see, we move a little fast with the story, right? With the party, which is cool, right? Because he did a lot of things. So Lenny got his own barbershop.
Yes, that was probably like 8 years.
A little later on,
about 5 years later, I got.
I'm trying to get the timeline for the people. Because
So I probably cut Shaquille when I was about 20.
No, it don't have to be how old you are. I'm just saying, like, when you wasn't in Sam Gore.
No, I was in Sam Gore's.
When you got the first
Shaquille, yes.
That's
absolutely.
why I asked.
Yes. So I started when I was working at Sam Gore. I ended up cutting. Who was my first? My first was Shaquille. Then I ended up DJ Les, who was DJing I was his barber, but he was also my DJ for the Brownstones. A lot of the events that I did. He was Nas's barber, and he produced a decent amount of Nas records and AZ records. I believe he produced Sugar Hill for AZ. That's the one with Miss Jones, right? Yeah. So he produced that. But he was my man, one of my best friends at the time, and he actually brought me Nas. So Nas was my client. Q-Tip, Jeff Sledge also brought me Q-Tip. A brother by the name of Paris Davis. He brought me Bryce Wilson from Groove Theory. He brought me what was the big director? The glasses, small glasses.
Singleton,
yep. Yeah. He brought me John Singleton. So I was his barber for a while. Freddie Jackson, I was his barber for a while.
Everybody.
I had
let me ask you this. So Shaq comes in.
I went to him.
Oh, you went to him?
Yes.
Because I was about to say, Sam Gore had a lot of nice barbers.
Yeah.
And it's big.
Yes.
So I was about to say, what makes him pick you? And I want to say the timeline, meaning how long from you started, how long you been in the business when you first cut Shaq?
I want to say 2 years.
Damn, that's quick.
Yeah, it was quick. So I'm also I am low, but I also I'm a self promoter. So I also went around. I would know certain industry executives, and I would go up to them and be like, "Yo, your haircut's Jack, man. You need to come see me." So I would just give them a card, and so I ended up cutting a lot of clicks. So they were like clicks like Jason Jackson, Brett Wright. Brett Wright owned Uptown. He owns Uptown Magazine now. He was also part of the Uptown crew back then. Jason Jackson, I forgot where he worked at, but he managed Lauryn Hill for a while. So I was cutting all these different. Then I cut Chris Lighty. So I ended up cutting a lot of different celebrities with him. Chris Lighty, God bless his dead, he was a real one. But yeah, in my career, I mean, when I was at Sam Gore's, that's when I built up my actually celebrity clientele was built at Sam Gore's. Okay, so your first 2 years, you go to Shaq. Was you nervous now? Because now you cutting. Of course, because I'm not a huge sports fan, but of course everybody knows who Shaquille O'Neal is. You know what I'm saying? So when I went to go cut him, in a huge. That was my first time being in a, presidential suite of a hotel. You know what I'm saying? So I went to cut him, and he was actually extremely humble. Got a bald head, a line up on his beard. It wasn't that fancy. Yeah, it was easy. It was I want to say I got paid $350 for that cut.
Damn.
So yeah, when I cut, so part of me cutting celebrities and I would also end up cutting them for their videos and photo shoots and all that stuff, and that's a different price.
And you traveling.
And I traveled. So at one point I was making between $200 to $500 to $600 depending on what I was doing, what the task was. So if I was cutting for a video shoot and I had to hang around for a day, my day rate was $700. If I had to just go cut somebody for photo shoot and break out, if I had to cut them at the studio and break out, then that was $200. So depending on what I had to do for the time, so to speak, and then I would charge them for the parking, etc. So I'm also
sometimes hit you with a tip.
Oh yeah. But I was also, I'm gonna stamp on this. I was also one of the first, if not the first, barber to start going to studios record companies and all that stuff and cutting hair. There was one other barber that used to cut Heavy D back in the day. I believe that he used to kind of run around, but I was running around cutting everybody in different studios and all that. So that's what gave me the name, the cutting room. So the slogan for the cutting room was any room is a cutting room.
Right.
So that's what made me pick that name, because I was like, I'm making any room a cutting room. I'm going to studios, a cutting room. Going.
That was on Amsterdam.
That was it. So yes, that was
upstairs,
on Amsterdam.
150.
Yes.
Was 54th, 3rd?
151st.
51st.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know another salon that can top that one back in
That
the
was
day,
me.
so,
that was me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, Sam Gore was nice, but that layout, that one was me.
I learned a lot of lessons there. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't have opened up that big. That would have been my second shop.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That was a big one for me coming out. But through me cutting hair at Sam Gore's, I learned a lot of lessons. I ended up with a lot of relationships. And one of the things I definitely want to push out there is that, relationships are everything, because without my relationships, I would have never have been able to do what I'm doing today. I wouldn't have been able to cut all the different celebrities that I cut. I wouldn't because I was always on time.
Right.
And then I was nice, right? So, and then, so those relationships is what cultivated me to be able to branch out and go cut different celebrities, and for them to even call me or know my name. And, the only celebrity I could think of that I wanted to cut that I missed, I missed the ball on was Prince. Okay. One day Nas called me and told me he wanted, Prince was in the studio over on, there's a studio up in what's the name? There's a venue on 34th Street. That big venue.
Quad?
I think it was Quad. Quad was it? No, it wasn't Quad.
No.
I think it was a studio on 34th Street. And it's at a venue. It's upstairs from a venue. And Nas called me and said he got somebody for me to cut. And I'm like, who? He's like, the artist. I'm like, who the hell's the artist, bro? He's like, Prince, bro. I'm like, what? So he's like, yeah, you gotta come cut him, man. So at the time, I always used to carry my clippers in my trunk. This particular day, for some dumbass reason, my clippers were in Jersey. So I was in Harlem, had to run to Jersey, and I came back. And by the time I pulled up, I called, and they were like, Prince left the building. And
I know you was like, dang.
Oh, damn. I called my mom and I cried.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. This Prince, you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
I can't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, so Prince,
he's something
I literally was on the phone with my mom crying.
He got that weird hair. He don't got the regular average. He got
straight hair.
Who knows what he wanted? I didn't care what he was going to
get. Yeah, he got the perm and all that. He just want to say he cut Prince.
I just want to be able to say I cut Prince.
I ain't saying on your end. I'm just saying,
that just don't. That on your resume is crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
One time I was at the I went to some award show, and we had the all access passes. So we was moving around. So we stood over by, where they got the production team and they shooting the lights and all that on the stage. And I was standing there, and I looked to my left. It was Prince.
Yeah,
so,
flashy.
Shit.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
He was a little dude, man.
Yeah, super
real little dude, right?
Yeah.
Nice as a motherfucker, real little dude. I said, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just felt niggas standing next to Prince. Well, back then we ain't had the phones and all that, so we forget about all that.
Yeah, facts,
I just I said, oh shit, he was cool and all that. And then we left it. Damn, I just met motherfucker Prince. So you cutting his hair, that's big, man.
Yeah, it's big. But one of my first most influential guys that I cut was KRS-One.
Teacher.
The teacher, man. He taught me a different type of hustle. So after I would cut Chris sometimes, if it was a Saturday night, he wanted some bread, we would just jump in the car. And back then, you remember all the clubs but downtown were nuts. So he would walk up to the managers, be like, yo, man, give me 5,000, I'll rock your party. And we would drive around to different clubs that night. And he would sometimes we would end up going home about $25,000, man, from this man just going to a different club saying, and Chris is a big dude. So when he walks in, and Chris is also, he was a teacher, but Chris's crowd is white. Right. I mean, we love him, but you go to KRS-One show, you're gonna see a lot of white people.
And you go like DMX, same type of thing. Yeah.
So we would go to all types of different clubs and talk to the owner, and he would take. And the funny thing, he would say, "You give me 10,000," and they said, "We got 2,500." He'd be like, "All right, let me get that." He wasn't like, "All right," you know what I'm saying? He wasn't like, "Yo, that's not enough for me. I'm out of here." And we're talking about someone who literally at that time was the number one. No one knew this, but Chris was the number one lecturer in the country for quite some time. The only person that was close to him was the woman that I forgot her name, Susan, the one that owned Essence magazine with little braids.
Oh, I know you're talking about
Susan Gray.
So yes,
Susan
so
Gray, yeah.
it was them two neck and neck for years. No one knew it because he wasn't going to our schools. It wasn't our schools that were calling him. It was the Yales, it was the Howard, it was the Harvards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was those Ivy League schools, and it was the weirdest thing. I remember going to going to watch him at a school. And he was basically telling them how they were the devil. And he was saying, I was like, they're paying him to come here and tell them
to annihilate.
You know what I'm saying? And it was amazing. But he was the person that actually taught me, and without teaching me, you know, how to hustle. You feel me? And he made me realize that, you know, no dollar is too small. Like here's a man that is on plenty of videos. He's an icon. You know, he gets, I think back then he was getting $20,000, $30,000 a show. He was willing to take $2,000, man, on a night that he wasn't getting nothing. Right. So he was like, this is enough.
Right.
But real quick, I want to jump in, and I'm not going to say the person's name, but it was a person, they from Harlem, that literally had one song. And one of my homies had a birthday party for the kid, and they wanted them to perform. Just that one song. And off $2,500. The person turned it down. You only got one song.
Right.
Like it's not like you got a catalog.
Yeah. I mean, some people feel like they're
doing a Sweet 16 party.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I always say that, you know, again, relationships are everything, because what he couldn't potentially see is that somebody gave you $2,500 to basically just show up to surprise somebody unannounced.
Yeah.
You don't know
one thing you got to understand about KRS-One. I know him too. I don't know him as well as you, but like my cousin and my man Scott Morris, manager Mo, that was his manager. That's when D Nice. That's when Scott LaRock and all of them.
Yep.
All of them. That's when before Scott LaRock got murdered. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I know about Chris, right? Scott LaRock discovered Chris because he was a counselor in a shelter. Chris was in the shelter. He was homeless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't homeless because he had a mental problem. Homeless because, you know, he grew up, you know, some tough shit happened with his family life. So when I'm thinking, when you say he take 2,000 or he might take 200,000, you know, he's not letting nothing pass him. It's the fact he remember when he had nothing.
Facts.
So you remember you was homeless, and he was really homeless in the Bronx, in the shelter in the Bronx, and you really was homeless, and you ain't had nothing to eat. You had nowhere to stay. Money is money, man.
Facts.
So all right, he ain't paying you my worth, but like you said, it's free money because I ain't doing nothing anyway.
Free money.
So let me go ahead and get that. So like the dude you talking about, who he ain't doing nothing for the night, and they offered him $2,500, you supposed to took that too, bro.
Oh, take that.
Yeah,
you got one song.
Facts.
And
You literally got one song.
$2,500 a song is 3-4 minutes.
Yes.
It's good
Yo,
money.
you
man.
got one song.
But a song, most of the song goes 4 minutes, man.
Did the most.
Come on, that's good money.
Hell yeah.
But like
You know what
I
I'm saying?
said, it's grabbed that stupid, and he grabbed that money. Cause I think like this, it's still money. That $2,500, you could do a lot with that, like
Facts.
a bill or something. Even
Yes.
you.
But Chris also comes from, so one of the stories, because when I would cut Chris's hair, I would cut his hair. It was like a thing we did. So I would go to his crib. Most of the time I would eat, and then I'd cut his hair, and then we walk around and smoke. And he would just talk to me, tell me about history and tell me about his life and, you know, all types of shit. So one of the stories that stuck in my head, man, was that one day he said he was on the train homeless. And this is when he had out his hit single. And he remembered The Bridge Is Over. And he remembers someone coming on the train playing the song. And he was on the train sleeping, my G.
Wow. See what I'm saying?
And he didn't even he didn't tell anybody that was his song.
Right.
But you know, that got to be the most humbling shit that I have ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it got to be, man.
You know,
you
and
got
so
a hit record.
I took a, you know, I definitely I do my best to this day, with all the quote unquote, what someone would look at me and say is success. And I stay humble, man, because it's like, you never know, bro. You know what I'm saying? In my relationships will open doors that money can't buy.
100%.
That's some real shit.
100%.
Like that's some real shit.
Facts right there.
And so everything that I have accomplished, for the most part, were through relationships. From cutting hair, I ended up throwing parties. From throwing parties, I ended up producing concerts, from producing, you know what I mean? So like I ended
That's
up
when they
producing.
saying what you know is who you know.
Indeed, I ended up
Relations is
producing.
a real big, man.
I also, so I'll speed up my life. So let's say I cut hair in Sam Gore's for a while. Left Sam Gore's, opened up the cutting room. Shout out to the whole cutting room crew. We were there for about, I want to say 5 years or so. When I was producing, when I was doing the cutting room, I was also producing shows. My first show was what was my first show? No, let's rewind. So I was throwing Cheetah at the time,
exactly.
which was crazy.
Crazy. If you ain't come early, it's hard to get in.
That Cheetah,
he ain't picking up the phone.
That Cheetah was crazy.
It was crazy.
Once you inside, that's it.
Like I don't know a party to this day that was like organically. We promoted that party for 1 week. Yeah. And I didn't know 21st Street was popping. That's when Cheetah was on 21st Street. Yeah. Justin's was right on 21st Street. And Taj. Yeah. And then Metronome was up the block.
So what about the joint that was in the church?
Right.
That joint was crazy in the church. That joint was crazy.
Lighthouse.
No,
not Lighthouse. It's not Lighthouse.
It's in the church, though. It's a funny name.
But that area right
on the avenue.
Yeah, that area was popping. Crazy. I didn't know that it was like that. And so one day, this dude named one of my customers actually, Roland and Napoleon came to the barbershop one day. He was like, "Yo, we want you to do this club with us, Cheetah." And I'm like, "Where?" And he was like, on 21st Street or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know when you want to do this. They were like on a Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. I'm like, a Wednesday night, nigga. Back then,
that's industry people.
Yeah, I didn't know the industry like that. I wasn't going to industry parties, so I didn't
come out
I'm not doing no party. I'm like, I'm not doing a party on a Wednesday. Nigga, what are you talking about? So I called my man Wonderful. Wonderful from Brooklyn. Shout out to One L.
Oh, yes, my dude,
yeah, man. So I called One. I was like, yo, One, they want me to do this party on 21st Street, man. Like, what do you think? He's like, nigga, you better go get that money, man. So I went, I did the party. We promoted the party for 1 week. And from then on, I want to say, and I kept telling them no. So every time I told them no, they will up the percentage. So at the first, they were like, "Yo, we're gonna split it all 3 ways." And then by time I said yes, I want to say they were at like sharing 30%. Now it's 70%. Not realizing what I was gonna make, but
right.
Man, I was bringing home from Cheetah's 6,000 to 7,000 a week, easy.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't promoting. I wasn't doing anything. I was just showing up at that time because we didn't have to promote. We were doing like when it was a slow, like when I guess like in the winter months, we would do some phone calls or whatever. But like Cheetah, you remember Cheetah was a machine.
100%.
Snow, rain, like that shit until somebody got popped in that motherfucker. And it was over. But
Cheetah was everything.
Yeah, it was nuts. So from that club,
there were white people in there too.
Yeah.
That's what made it what it was.
Because Cheetah was known for Monday night. So Monday night was the popping night. That was I forgot her name, Belinda or some shit like I was doing on Monday night. I went and did the Wednesday, and then so Cheetah was the one party that taught me like you can throw a party on any night as long as you got some marketing behind you.
Yes.
So
in that area, the weekdays work.
So then I started not being afraid of throwing parties at any given day whenever it made sense.
Right.
Again, I'm not the guy that wants everybody to know what I look like. I'm not even realizing how popular I am. Everybody else knew, but because I don't really go out much other than me to have fun. I didn't really go out much to have fun.
Right.
So I would only do it as a business.
Right.
And then every now and again, I would go to a sparkle party or some shit like that. But because I was so popular in cutting hair, by the time I would get to a party, it would be like 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm cutting hair till 12. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I was missing half the parties anyway.
Yeah.
But Cheetah definitely taught me a different type of hustle. It also it built up my confidence as a business person because I didn't know the power that I had. I was also like letting a lot of people in for free, right? And my door person at the time, Rashida, she was like, "Yo, I got a question, man." She was like, "You let all these niggas in here for free. Every time y'all turn around, you're letting somebody in for free because they say who they are, or you're afraid that you're not gonna make the money. You'll let if it's 5 people, you let 3 in free, make 2 pay." She's like, "I got a question for you, man. You think these niggas coming for you, or they coming from all the women that you got coming in here? Because all the women are coming for you,
right?
So, and they coming in here to see them chicks that you are bringing in the door. So, you gonna let them in free to come get your chicks?" I said, "What?" I turned into a beast after that. I was never scared to go out. I mean, if you call me, if I come to the door, I'm telling you, 20, 30, 40. Like, I'm not the guy that's like, you know, and even down like that's how I met Jim Jones. That's how I met Mano. Like, literally, it was they come into the door, they come deep. Everybody wants to get in. Jim wants to get in free. Mano wants to get in free. Like, nah, man, you gotta pay, man. One time, the way I met Jim, Jim said, Jim walks up to the door, got a bunch of niggas with him, and he didn't know who I was. And I remember somebody saying to him, but I'll take that back. He didn't know what I looked like. But he knew who I was. He knew your name. He knew my name. Right. So he was like, you know, Jim is a shit talker. So he was like, somebody said my name, whatever. He's like, yo, Lenny, man, you always doing this shit, man. Like, what the fuck, man? So, you know, he talking. Now, I'm not a big talker, but I'm also not afraid to fight, and I'm not afraid of anybody. So I was like, yo, Jim, man, let's go outside real quick, man, because I'm not going to do this shit in front of anybody. Right. This is a true story. So, you know, you can rewind it, Jim, you can say whatever, but it's a true story. We went outside. I said, Jim, you ain't never seen me before in your life, nigga. What are you talking about, man? He was like, you right, Lenny. I said, look, man, I'll let you in free, but everybody else is paying, Jim. All right, Lenny, let's go. So after that, same thing happened with Mano. Mano came to the door, came to my door. I was doing the club that was on the opposite side of Cheetah. Me and DJ Self did that party for a long time. That's when Cheetah went down. And Mano came to the door. Same thing. I didn't know who Mano was. And I remember the other promoters that with me. I'm not gonna shout y'all out because it's some punk shit, but y'all ran because y'all saw Mano. I don't know who the nigga is, so he's walking up to the door. He got about 5 with him, and that was so funny. So he walks up. I can't remember. They just scattered, man. It was like, oh nah, I'm not dealing with this nigga. So they walked up. He walked up and he was like, yo, what's up, man? My name Mano. And I said, yeah, my name Lenny. That'll be 20, 40, 60, 80. He was like, yo, what you mean? My name Mano. I said, yo, I'm Lenny the Barber, man. Like, I don't know who you are, bro. Like, all I know is that this is how much it costs to get in, man. He was like, you Lenny the Barber? All right, man. And Mano actually came out his pockets and paid for everybody. And me and Mano have been the best of friends ever since that day. But what that told me was, like, if you let somebody walk on you, they're going to continue to do so. Right? So once I started standing up for myself, I made a lot more money, even though I was making good money. But once I was like, oh, no, that's a business.
That girl told you that,
Word is bond. Once I was like, because before that, I worked hard for it, but like, I also, so it's kind of like, you know, if you're making 5,000 that night, but you should have made 9, or you should have made 5,500. Right. You feel me? Because you let XYZ amount of people in the door. But now I want all mine. So I'm not letting nobody else in free. So I became synonymous for not letting anybody in free anymore. And, you know, it worked for me. So I fast forward to producing concerts. My first, also at Cheetah, we also had a lot of impromptu performances. One of the guys that came through and performed was Nelly. He I think when he had his #1 album, Ty Dash brought him through. I was also his barber. Nelly performed his whole album there, man. Oh, shout out to Ty Boogie, because it was me, Ty Boogie, Roland, and Napoleon that did that. And Ty Boogie took off from there, man. That was his catapult into stardom.
That's what got him out there.
No question.
Because I was wondering who Ty Boogie was. He was.
I
mean, he was hot, but I wonder where he came from at the time.
Nah, he was hot.
He just came out.
And
you know
back
what I mean?
Then, all of the rappers would come to Cheetah. So Jay would be right next to the DJ booth. Fab, like all of them. So we didn't only have
be out there.
We didn't Puff was out there. We didn't only. Because we also had the streets, like we had all the street dudes from Jersey and Newark was heavy in there, Harlem was heavy in there, Brooklyn was heavy in there.
Brooklyn was definitely heavy.
We also had the celebrities that, you know, I remember one time Zab came through. Zab Judah came through, had his big ass tennis chain on. I walked up and I said, Zab, I'm gonna tell you this shit one time, nigga. I know about 8 niggas in here that's gonna come get that when you leave. So you got 1 or 2 choices, bro. Either you tuck that bitch and put that shit in your pocket. Don't even let that shit hang out in the back. You dig? Because you're gonna get got tonight, and I know who's gonna get you. Right. I don't even gotta think about it. I know them. I know who they are. Yeah. Right. So, you know, and shout out to Zab Judah. That's a true story. You feel me? And you know, I did my best to keep it 100 with everybody that I touched. You know what I mean? That's why I still fuck with you, because back then, I kept on, and you supported me. You, Mark, oh yeah, man, y'all bought insane amounts of bottles at all my parties. Yeah. And so I did my best to stay humble. this gentleman right here, he's been supporting me since day one. I didn't even know who he was.
Right.
Every week, this nigga was up at Cheetah. You feel me?
Yeah.
Am I lying? Okay. So
Ted was there.
You know what I mean? So
SNS.
no question. So you know, I one thing I will say is I do thank God for all the relationships that I've built over the years, and that has catapulted me to doing different things. I ended up leaving there, started producing larger scale events. I ended up producing Love and Hip Hop for a season or two, something like that. But I ended up in television for about 2-3 years.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
You're going a little too fast.
I know, I can't.
So
I don't have a good chronology.
I go to Universal, right? I went there with Mita.
Oh yeah.
And I had artists by the name Sebastian. So when I go on Universal, they take me to meet Rifkin, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was there at that time, right? And because he got a meet, he liked Sebastian. And I see Lenny. I said, oh shit, Lenny, what you doing here, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck going on,
I was
man?
working at
He said, I work here. I said, oh shit, this motherfucker Lenny doing kind of shit. Fuck you doing working here, man? Remember that day?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I met you in the lobby and shit, man.
Facts.
On 57th Street on
how you
Central Park.
Get into that?
Relationships.
Yeah.
At the time, the gentleman by the name of Eric Nix,
Eric Nix, my man.
Yeah, he my man no more. But
he ain't mine no more either. He was cool back then.
Yeah, back then. Yeah. But he saw that I did well with marketing myself. And he was like, yo, you should be with the label, man. And look, at the end of the day, shout out to Eric Nix, because I can't lie. The kid did put me in the music industry. We don't fuck with each other no more, but he did put me in the music industry.
I think, matter of fact, I think you introduced me to Eric Nix.
That's possible.
He lived up in not Alpine.
He had a
mansion. He had a mansion.
It wasn't. He rented.
He rented it.
Yeah, it was.
But you know, when we went there with the artists,
yes,
he had put a good front.
Yes,
it was a nice joint though.
In fact, facts.
Going up by Alpine over there.
Yes.
Close to Leland.
He got me. He introduced me to Shanti Das, and I interviewed with them one time. And like I said, I did a good job of marketing Lenny the Barber. So me marketing Lenny the Barber again, I didn't know what the hell marketing was. I really didn't know what marketing was until one of my clients told me, like, yo, you're a marketing machine. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm just out here throwing parties and cutting hair. He's like, bro, you don't see everybody walking up to you and talking to you and like, you know what I'm saying, coming to your parties. He's like, that's marketing, Lenny. And I'm like, oh. Yeah. So when Eric introduced me to Shanti to be a director of marketing up at Universal, actually, rewind. I ended up being a director of marketing from this gentleman named Ramon Blackburn in Rico. Ramon owned, what's the name of that sneaker store up there on Positive Avenue? The Fly Shit.
On the corner?
The shit you going up
there? The one. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Hush.
Yeah, right.
Hush.
Oh, you own that?
Yeah, he's the owner of Hush. So shout out to Ramon. Ramon actually gave me my first job. He worked at he owned a company called Chrome Class. It was a clothing line. Up at he had a company that was under the Azarac, under a company called the Check Group. So the Check Group owners was Ruby Azarac and Lawrence Jamal. Ruby Azarac's family was the inventor of the bobbleheads.
Right.
So you know what kind of money that is.
Right.
And then Lawrence Jamal was the owner of all the Wiz. Remember, nobody beats the Wiz.
Yeah.
So he owned all the Wizzes.
Yeah,
he also owned all the real estate that the Wizzes were in.
Right.
So that's you can imagine what kind of money that is. So
relations.
They had a deal up at that company, and that was my first actual marketing job. So I worked there for I want to say almost a year until they ended up getting to it and breaking up the company, which was sad. But and then I ended up going back to cutting hair. And one day Eric was in my chair. He was like, "Yo, man, I think I can get you a job up at Universal." He was an executive. He was like a VP of A&R up at Universal, and a job came up, and he got me a job at Universal. So I worked there for a year. Ended up working with Baby, Tank, Erykah Badu. Who else? And that's what catapulted me into doing my first actual show. So, well, no, I take that back. While I was yes, it did catapult me there. So while I was working at Universal, I had to go to Atlanta to so this is what gave me the concert bug. I ended up going to Atlanta because I do a photo shoot for Tank, and shout out to Tank. Tank is a cool ass brother, man. And ended up I do a photo shoot for Tank. So I was in Atlanta, and there's a venue called the Fox Theater, and Jeezy and Lil Wayne was performing there. I'm gonna say it again. Wayne was opening up for Jeezy, which sounds nuts, but that's the truth. As big as Wayne is, and I mean, Jeezy's definitely big, but you know, he's not Lil Wayne big, right? So I remember Wayne opened up for Jeezy back then. So and this is where God plays a part in it as well. So I remember walking up to the ticket booth, paid for my ticket, and I remember somebody yelling my name, Lenny. So I turn around, and it was my boy Mark that I went to college with. I was also his barber, and he was Lil Wayne. He was Cash Money's bus driver.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, yo, what you doing here? So I told him what I was doing here. He's like, man, you don't need no ticket, man. Get your money back.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my money back for my ticket. And as we're walking to the backstage, I hear again, Lenny. So I'm like, turn around. And remember AJ from Cheetah nightclub?
Yeah.
AJ was the head of security for the tour.
Mm-hmm.
And so they both brought me in. And I remember seeing Jeezy. And I was looking and I was like, yo, this is dope. Like, it's the first time I've been backstage at the show. And I'm like, this is dope. So I'll never forget, I saw Lil Wayne walk up. And, you know, Lil Wayne's demeanor is very melancholy. Like, Wayne is like, you know, he's slow. He's on that scissor shit. So Wayne kind of walks slow when he's like, but as soon as he hit the stage, he turns into a fucking leprechaun. Like, he's like, it's like some shit out of television.
Jumping around and shit.
Shit is nuts, right? I'm standing there and I'll never forget seeing him walk up. He walked up to Mark and said, what's up? Walks the stage. They gave him the mic. He was standing there. He was just chilling. He had his, with that double styrofoam cup shit, whatever. Gave his man the cup. And nigga hit that stage. And when he hit the stage, I saw the crowd lose their shit. And AJ was to the right of me and Mark was to the left of me. And I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. I don't want to do this other shit no more. I don't work for this shit anymore. I don't want to cut hair anymore. I want to produce concerts, man. Right. Fuck this shit. So from that point on, I ended up booking because of the relationship. I met Cortez, awesome brother, who was Lil Wayne's manager at the time. And I ended up booking, I don't know, 60 Lil Wayne shows all over the country because of my relationship with Mark and Cortez. And that led me into, so it was kind of like I was helping Wayne tour, but not really owning the tour. And from there, I ended up producing my first show, which was the actual infamous show where Wayne got locked up at the Beacon Theater. That was 100% my show. There's a story behind that. The story goes, I used my relationship with Wayne. I paid him $50,000. I had an investor and used some of my money, used an investor's money. But I knew that I couldn't go to the Beacon Theater and get the Beacon Theater, so I'd use a front man. So it was this guy named John that was the white older dude that he didn't know anything about hip hop. He had some money. He liked young girls, so he was like, all right, I'll help you. Him and this guy named Alvin. So John went and got the Beacon Theater. I had Lil Wayne, put the shit on sale. I put it on sale on Thursday. By Sunday, shit was sold out. That's when he came out with Lollipop.
Lollipop.
Yeah, that's a mean song. Yeah,
shit was nuts, right? Yeah. So he and at the time, you know, that was the height of the hip hop police era. And I remember the John calling me and he was like, "Yo, man, they're trying to cancel the show." I'm like, "What you mean cancel the show for what?" He's like, they're saying Lil Wayne's a gang member and they feel like it's going to be violent and, you know, they want to cancel the show. I'm like, John, we can't do that. He's like, well, they want to meet us at the precinct. Now, he's the front guy, the guy in the back. So it's basically being pushed out as his show. So I go to the meeting. It's a long ass communal table full of police. I'm not used to that. We ain't used to that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, so I'm sitting in the back though. Right. And John can't speak to the culture. John can't speak to the show. He can't speak to shit. So the police chief and the captains and all these dudes are sitting there eating his ass up. So I couldn't take it no more. So I stood up. I said, yo, I can't take it no more, man. This is not his show. It's my show. My name is Lenny Hansen, aka Lenny the Barber. I pay my taxes. I'm a barber. I'm a producer. There's no reason under the sun why you guys should not let Lil Wayne perform there. He's never been locked up. You guys have nothing on him. So can you please let my show go on? So next to me, where I was sitting down in the back, was his brother. He leaned over to me and he was like, So everybody starts talking like, what the fuck? Like, so it was like an uproar in the room because it's like, who the fuck is this little black guy standing up talking about he's the show, he owns the show. So now there's a sense of confusion there, and it's just like people just talking over each other and whatever. So now, the dude that was sitting next to me leans over to me. He goes, "Yo, man, you really Lenny the Barber?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Lenny the Barber, man." He's like, "Yo, nigga, I love you, man." He said, "I met my wife at one of your parties, man." He was like, "Yo, don't worry about this shit, man. Meet me outside." I go out. I say, I tap my other partners. We went out of the room. He shut the door. 5 minutes later, everybody walks out the door. He said, "Your show's back on, man." I said, "Yo, who the fuck are you?" He said, "Yo, I'm the head of the gang task force in New York City." Relationship, right?
More relationship.
Another relationship. So my show went on. That night, I remember Wayne. So the reason everything happened the way it did is that show was nuts for me. I had Dipset performing. I knew Kanye was coming. On the show, on the bill was Kia Shine, Ja Rule. I forgot who else, but I knew who was coming. Jim was coming. Dipset was coming. I knew Kanye was coming. And Lil Wayne pulls up on the bus. He ain't got on nothing but a skateboarder, shorts, and in a little tank top. And he's going to walk in through the backstage, and they're like, "All right, walk to the metal detector, we got to search you." He's like, wait, why you got to search me? It's my show. So they're like, "Well, we got to search everybody." So he's like, "Man, if I got to get searched, I'm not going, man. I'm not fucking doing this show." So he goes back into his bus. I go to the general manager of the Beacon Theater, and I say, "Yo, sir, they're asking Lil Wayne to get searched. And here's what I do know. I know that if this was a country show, a rock and roll show, or any other show, you wouldn't search the band. I know you wouldn't, right?" So he was like, "I'll tell you what, guy, I don't know who Lil Wayne is, and I really don't give a fuck." This is exact words. "I don't really give a fuck. If he doesn't want to get searched, I'm just gonna give everybody their money back." And I'm like, "What?" So Wayne pulls off. So now I'm nervous. I'm like, "Shit, I ain't got no fucking show." Only thing I had was my best friend was the bus driver. So I knew he had direct ties to talking to Wayne. So they're coming, they're on their way back to the show. On the bus is management, Sylvia Rohn, who is my boss at Universal Music, that doesn't know this is my show. So I didn't remember, I said I was playing the back man. The Universal had spent like $36,000 in a ticket buy to buy tickets for the show. Would have never have spent that had they knew it was my show. Right. So on the bus is Sylvia Rohn, Wayne, management, and my man saying we on our way back. So I'm like, good. So I get off. Road manager comes to me, Eli. He's like, "Yo, man, I got some bad news for you." I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "Yo, the Queen want to speak to you." I'm the Queen, who? He's like, "Sylvia Rohn." I'm like, "Sylvia don't know who I am, nigga. Like, what are you talking about?" Mind you, her office was right down the block, right down the hall. Right?
Yep.
So
she's at Motown, right?
Yeah, she was at Motown, Motown Universal. So I'm like, "Sylvia don't know it's my show. Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "She knows it's your show now, man." I'm like, "What you mean? She knows it's my show?" He's like, "Somebody ratted you out." I know who you are who ratted me out. I'm not gonna shout you out, but I know who you are. So actually I saw you the other day, my nigga. But no.
Wow.
Anyway, but so I'm nervous as hell, of course, because now my money is there and my boss is there. So I go to the bus door opens. Sylvia is the first person I see, and Wayne was standing there, and Sylvia says, "Look, Lenny, I need you to get Lil Wayne in there without getting him searched." At the time, Lil Wayne was the #1 project on Universal, but he was the #1 artist in the industry. There was nobody. Lollipop was the nuttiest shit.
He
Crazy.
Was
he was the biggest artist.
Right?
He had the summer. Like it was nuts.
That's when Baby was talking trash, saying
Facts.
He's better than Jay-Z.
Facts. So Sylvia says, "I need you." So no, she said, "Oh, this is your show, huh, Lenny?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Sylvia, it's my show." She's like, "All right, great. I need you to get Wayne the show without getting searched." So I'm like, "Well, I don't know if I can do that, Wayne. I said, but you know what, Wayne, let me talk to you, man. So we go to the back of the bus. Now, I had been on the bus before in other cities, but I had never been to a suite of a bus.
Mm-hmm.
So I had met Wayne in passing, didn't know him. But he knew who I was because of Mark. And at that time, I had booked a lot of shows for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the back, and Wayne's like, yo, man, I'm not going there if they're going to search me. I'm like, yo, Wayne, check this out. You can't do this shit to me, my G. Like, not only has my money been on time for all these shows that I produced, I mean, that I booked for you, but this show sold out pretty quickly. No, I didn't even say that yet. I said my money's always been on time. That's what I said. My money's always been on time. Now, that was the first time that I had ever seen real big jewelry. Like, I had never seen jewelry that big before.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember picking up his chain and looking at that shit. I'm like bugging out. I'm like, God damn, this shit is like, there's some real money back here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm talking to him while he's looking at me and talking his shit. So he's like, yo, the only thing I care about, Lenny, he picked up a photo of his daughters. The only thing I care about is these two girls here. This is all I care about. If they don't want, New York don't love Lil Wayne. That's what he said. And I'm like, New York don't love Lil Wayne? What are you talking about? I say, Wayne, this show sold out in a week. I mean, in 3 days, bro.
Mm-hmm.
New York loves you, my G. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I said, my money has always been on time. I need you to go in that door, bro.
Yeah.
So then he's like, you know what, Lenny? I like you, man. Let's go do the show. So we walked. Mind you, got Sylvia Rome sitting there that couldn't get before. What I didn't know at the time was that entire time from the hotel to the show, Sylvia was begging Wayne to just get searched and go on the show, go do the show. And he kept telling her no. And here I come. Wayne is like, all right, let's go do the show. And she's looking at me like, what the fuck?
Wow.
The fuck did you say? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Right? So he goes, he does the show. Most insane show. Kanye comes out. I remember Rihanna was in the building. Who else was there? It was just pure insanity, and it was beautiful. Show comes down. Lil Wayne, Ja Rule, Kia Shine, Jim and them. They wouldn't let in. Oh, Fat Joe was supposed to come in. They wouldn't let Fat Joe in because I want to say 3 months before that, Fat Joe had punched the Beacon Theater is owned by the Madison Square Group, and Fat Joe had punched a security guard in the face at a basketball game or some shit like that. So they was like, he can't come in. So it was a great show. The end of the night, when they leave, we recorded the show, by the way. I don't know what the hell that recording is, but anyway, recorded the show, and Wayne left. When he got back in the bus, he was supposed to make a right to go where, he's supposed to make a left. And the police officers were like, nope, you got to make it right. And they pulled over the bus right away.
That's when he got locked up?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And
he went to Rikers Island behind that shit?
Yep. And the police
People
officers
didn't want to see him. That was all that shit going
police
on?
officers, let me tell you the crazy shit, though. Police officers got in the bus and was like, which one of y'all Lil Wayne?
They didn't even know who he was.
No, they didn't know who he was. Now, the dumb shit was they did have a pistol on the bus, which was some dumb shit, right? Because you hot, nigga. Like, right? They ain't let you in there without getting searched. Right. And Mark was telling them, don't bring no gun to the show because we don't know what's gonna happen. So that's how that happened. I remember losing a ton of money. I made a good money that night, but also actually it was called Limelight. That's it. I had the after party. That's what I remember. I had the after party for that show at Limelight. So when the word got out, the Lil Wayne got locked up. Yeah. My money was dead. I didn't make any money at the Limelight. I lost my rental, all that shit. Yeah. But the very next day, I had to go into work. That was a Sunday party. I had to go back into work. Sylvia called me to her office. No, she came to my office. She was like, knock, knock, knock. She's like, hey, Lenny, so really good show last night. I'm like, thanks, Sylvia. She's like, so, you're my employee, and you recorded that show. I own that footage. Now, mind you, back then, well, still to this day, Cash Money have a P&D deal. Universal don't own none of their rights to their music.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right? So she had no rights to that footage. However, she used me as her employee to say that she has the rights.
Universal distribution.
That's it. Yeah. So as soon as I said, Sylvia, it's not my footage. It was my footage, but I was like, Sylvia, it's not my footage. I don't, whatever.
Mhm.
So when she walked away, she went and called. I knew she was gonna go call Cortez because I told her that Cortez owned it, Wayne's management. So after she walked away, I called Tez, like, yo, Tez, you gotta tell her that this footage is 100% yours. He did it. That's what he said. So I was able to keep the footage. But that was like a synonymous night for me, and it was another show that showed me that relationships count. Right.
Yeah, they do.
Moving forward past that, I ended up producing Fetty Wap's first tour.
You was telling me about that.
Yeah, which was also due to relationships. I actually, Danny Sue had just called me to do their merch. Yeah. Actually, no, I offered them. I offered them. I wanted to handle their merch. And Danny and them wasn't vast in producing shows, and they didn't know the business, so they had me work the Live Nation deal out for them for Fetty Wap's first tour. And so for that first tour, I owned the merch as well as produced the tour. Awesome tour, sold out every show. Young kid. I will say that I wish that he didn't have the influences that he did. One of the things that I remember telling him, because one day we were talking about money and finances and how much money he makes and yada yada yada, and I'm like, bro, man, you should know how much money you make, right? So because I know that LL and Nelly, they sign all their own checks. Nothing goes by them. They don't. No lawyer, no accountant, nobody can do anything without them signing, without him seeing that check. Right. So I was basically telling him that story. And he was like, nah, man, nah. I know all the money that's in my account. Every time money comes in my account, I know what's in there. I said, yeah, I get that. I said, but do you know how much money's supposed to go in your account? Do you know how much? So if you got 30,000 that day, do you know how much that 30,000 started at? Come to find out, he was only getting like for $80,000 show.
So niggas don't keep track of their own bread?
Nah, bro.
That's crazy.
Real talk. And this came from a really good source. Oh, Fetty was getting like between 35,000 off of $80,000 show. Everybody else was eating. Lawyers, management, everybody.
Slow or something, but he just could rap.
It wasn't slow. It wasn't slow, but when you get started, man, like that's the one thing. Like, and that's fucking up the industry now, right? A lot of these artists are hip to the game, and now they're doing their own shit, right? They doing their own streaming. They learn the business of the music business. Back then, even still today, people become a star. You just think about like people are going crazy over me, and right. I only had $10 on my account yesterday. Today I got 30. You feel me? But they don't realize how much that shit should have been. You feel me? So I learned a lot. And I learned a lot by going to cut different industry executives' hair. I would go cut Chris Lighty. I would go cut Steve Stout. I heard them niggas talking deals. I knew I was there when Diddy came in and beat him up, beat Steve Stout up. I went to jail with Chris Lighty. You know what I'm saying? Me and Chris, God bless the dead. Me and Chris ended up beating the shit out of dude for taking. We had did a charity, and we ended up. He ended up stealing like $80,000 from the charity. Damn. So me and Chris caught him one day, and tore his ass. And Mike Lighty actually tore him up, and ended up in jail. And God bless Chris. Chris is a real one. Chris bailed me out, paid for my attorney fees, all that. That's why I always say, people talk about people, after they're gone and not able to speak up for themselves, and I can honestly and truly say that man was an honest, real businessman and a street dude that understood the streets and understood business. And he was right in between, and you wasn't going to play with him. He wasn't going to. I remember one time we went to a show, and I was nervous because I ain't, we went to a show with him, and somebody was following us, and he pulled over, and they opened up the glove compartment, pulled out the blicky, jumped out the car, and was like, "What y'all niggas want, man?" Them niggas jetted off. But Chris, he would give you the shirt off his back if he could, man.
Everybody
like he was one of those.
Everybody.
Oh no, real talk. Like real talk. He was a very awesome.
Yeah,
awesome
I know
brother.
Chris. Before he even thought about that music shit, man.
Baby Chris.
When he working with Jessica,
Yeah. Yeah.
at the door of the tunnel.
Facts.
I know Chris a long time, man. You know,
Awesome brother, man.
you know, he worked his way into the industry, kind of sort of like you.
Yeah.
But
Chris used to carry
but a
crates.
different way. Yeah, with Red Alert and all that.
He used to carry crates for Red Alert.
Yes, he did. I know him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know him, and he always a humble dude, never no punk, you know. He didn't get into like, he didn't do it like, he didn't have no craft like you, but he got into the thing by carrying crates, and then he started into the party scene, and when he got hooked up with Jessica, that's when he really got popular.
Yep.
Because he was always with Jessica at all the big major events. And one of them was the tunnel.
Yep.
You know,
Facts.
him and Jessica is at the door.
Yep.
And then next thing you know,
Where's she at
you know,
now?
she's still doing. No, I talked to D Nice one time because you know she worked with D Nice too one time, and he told me that she do private big giant events like.
But Jessica's from
she do big events.
She's from money. So.
She's from money.
Yeah.
So
her dad, I think, was one of the biggest, one of the top accountants in the music industry at the time back then. So,
she only do exclusive shit.
Yeah, I learned the black deal and the white deal from Jessica. When you go to a club and you do a club deal with clubs and you're a white person, they will give you a piece of the bar and then they will give you money towards marketing and whatever. But if you're a black promoter like myself, pay me a rental, you're not getting none of this bar.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
And that's how D Nice got back on, because D Nice at the Boogie Down production, his shit went down. He started doing shows and it went down, and Jessica snatched her as her DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So she got all exclusive parties. D Nice, the DJ.
Facts.
Boom.
Yep.
Everybody
he used to also DJ. I used to do this event called the R&B Live in Times Square. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Myself, Eric Nixon, Shanti Das would do that. Did that night. And
remember the Spotlight?
That was Spotlight.
Yeah, Spotlight. Come
Yeah,
on, man. I was there.
That was a insane.
That was crazy.
Insane.
The 3 levels and all that.
Yeah,
Spotlight was crazy,
that
man.
shit was nuts.
That was Eric Nixon joint. Little Kim, everybody.
Everybody used to come there.
We all execs.
That's where
sit down in the middle. I remember the whole joint. You upstairs.
Yeah.
You get
rumor has
it's roped off. And
that's where Diddy did the Ciroc deal.
And that's where Lil Kim had that little beef.
Yeah.
Him and she got stabbing and some more crazy shit with the
Diddy
jail.
did, and Diddy, I remember Making the Band was shot there.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, a lot of good things.
Yeah, Spotlight was rocking.
Yeah, she was rocking.
I had my artist Sebastian, right? The same one I told you I brought to Universal.
Mm-hmm.
So when we had the meeting, that's that same time.
Right.
It's around the same time. So they liked him, right? So they say, listen, we want him to perform at the Spotlight.
Yep.
So they flew him in because he's from LA, from Burbank, California.
Mm-hmm.
Flew him in. I'm saying, yeah, we lit.
Yeah.
We about to get the bag, right? He has to perform, but he was supposed to perform first. So we had Q from 112. He came out as solo.
Mm-hmm.
What's the girl name? The light-skinned girl name who got from down south, light-skinned, pretty R&B singer. She cut her husband up. She stabbed him up a few times. Yeah, the homegirl sang the song with Yvonne. It's a solo R&B song that she got big. It's gonna come out later with Yvonne. So it was them, right? And
No, Shirley Murdoch.
No. Light skinned woman, man. Light skin. She did the song with R&B joint with Yvonne. We're gonna find it, right? So anyway, Sebastian was supposed to go last. First, because he's a new artist. They want to see what he got. When they heard that nigga shit, they say he going last. I said, oh shit. My artist going last before these motherfuckers. These motherfuckers got records out already, man. Right. They said Shorty going last. And they did they shit. And then when he got on, I said, yo, because he was a little nervous. Right. He's from California. He ain't, come on, man. He ain't never been to New York. Fact. You know what I'm saying? He a little nervous. He 18.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? His pops is his manager and all that, because, he 18. So when he killed him when I saw your Universal, I had him in the back. I'm pepping him up, getting the mind right about New York. When he got on the stage, he started like coming to the stage. He got down on one knee. The girls, the ladies running to the stage. That shit was crazy, right? And what I was trying to say is that at that time, that's when me and Eric Nixon got real cool. Like, yo, man, I want you to bring Shorty to me. Right. But I already had a little deal with, what's the name? But what killed this deal was at the time, he was Flip Flop. And Flip Flop wasn't accepted at that time.
What you mean Flip Flop?
He was one of them boys.
Yeah.
I can't, we on TV, I can't do that. So when he when he went back, they said, come back tomorrow. Because, mind you, you got Lyle Cohen, you got all these motherfuckers sitting down.
Everybody.
Roped in.
Everybody.
Right?
Yeah,
They
we
get
had
roped in, right?
the-
And all the big execs sit downstairs. They
Yep.
want to see the new talent. Man, I said, damn, we lit. The next day, I can't wait to go over there. And when they wanted him to sing a couple songs for other execs, yo, check out this talent. They hyped on him, man. And he started a couple of things. He just started getting a little thing on, like some. And I'm like, fuck you doing, man? I ain't seen that.
Y'all getting real ticklish.
Yeah, he got a little funny style, you know. And I didn't see that, man. So I called his pops later on. I'm like, you know, I had Mita, Mita Lee. I'm with Mita, because Mita brought me in, right? Mita like, yo, V, what's that about? I said, Mita, I ain't even know about that, man. She's like, she got mad. She walked off, right? I said, oh, man.
She got mad at you?
She got mad at the whole situation because when you bring artists and your rappers on the line, man,
facts.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they thought it was something and it ain't.
Shout out to me.
They done play all the hotel and they did everything, man. To make a long story short, I took to the pops. I'm mad now. I'm mad too. Like, yo, man, what's up, man? I said, yo, why you ain't tell me that, man? He's like, you know, he said, I don't condone it, man, but what I'm supposed to do, you know, it's my son. You know, I'm like, man, but I said, you could at least told me, man. That shit
and you could have
embarrassed me.
prepped him a certain way. Right?
Yeah, man, I could have prepped him. I could have got him. I could have talked to him before he did it. He had the deal. The deal was lost.
That's crazy.
I'm tight, man.
That's
I thought I
crazy.
was on.
Right,
he killed everything, man. And the nigga fucked the whole joint up, man. Remember, you used to always like, yo, all the Sebastian. I still got like 20 of his songs right now on my phone.
Sebastian, a quick little story, right? When I thought about doing a podcast, right? Because I said I want to do a podcast. Because I was always behind the scenes also. So I'm like, damn, and I'm laid back. So the whole time, we was Facebook friends, but I knew him already. It was cool. But I said, I want to get somebody that I know who going to do we're going to take this thing next level.
Right.
I ain't on no homie time.
Right.
They don't got to be who I'm with, hanging around every day. So I said, yo, I'll get up in the morning, go on Facebook, Sebastian. I'm like, God damn, this nigga don't play. So I saw his promotion game with that. So
the market is crazy too.
Marketing, he always every
I'm
morning.
nice myself, you know.
So every morning I see Sebastian. So then I'm prepping. I'm doing all the background for months, like 6 months before I say anything to somebody, buying everything. Bought everything. Got sick. When I go to somebody, I want them to say I'm serious.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I bought everything locked in. All a person had to do, like, I'm with you.
Right.
So yeah, yo, get the Avant or Duo. Find out who that girl is, man. Please, man.
So when I went to him, I called and said it to him.
Yeah, light-skinned girl.
And he was like,
the light-skinned lady.
Bet. And he's like, yo, yeah, I'll fuck with it. Whatever.
She cut him. She ain't heavy.
But the thing,
right? Yeah,
she
she chopped the man up. She got locked up.
Lyric.
That's her right there. That ain't her name. Ain't Lyric. No, it's not, man. It's the lyrics is the song, man.
Kiki Wyatt.
Kiki Wyatt.
Yeah,
so
I was on tip of my tongue too.
It was Kiki Wyatt. It was the dude from 112, Slim. Because he came out solo because they broke up, and he made Sebastian go last. But finish your story. MySpace. I met Sebastian on MySpace. Remember MySpace?
So Sebastian was the reason why.
Wow.
I reached out to Vito because I saw how he went hard with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, I know I go hard. And I said, whoever I want to do this thing with, do this thing, it got to be somebody going to go hard.
Facts,
so it's full circle with Sebastian.
That's what's up.
So, right. So, I don't know if you want to talk about it before we go.
What's up?
But you told me you in the cannabis business now?
Oh, yes. I am opening up a dispensary in Atlantic City called Peach's Garden. We'll be open in about a month. So please look out for that. We are
my man, dude.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
We are one of the first social equity brands that are coming to Atlantic City. My partner Valerie she was from Atlantic City, born in Atlantic City. She's born in Atlantic City, still lives in Atlantic City. I partnered up with her, my boy Joey Ayuso, who was the owner of, he's part of the Delmonico Group. I don't know if you remember Greenhouse and Whip back in the day.
Yeah.
He was one of the owners of that. And then I have Angel Cruz, who's a grower and a very successful manufacturer in New Jersey. He has a company called Lily Extracts. Lily Extracts is the #1 manufacturer in New Jersey. They do all the gummies and the vapes and all that. So yeah, we came together and we're opening up a spot on New York Avenue in Atlantic City. Shout out to Marty Smalls, the mayor. That's one of the reasons why I ended up going to Atlantic City. That business is a
he going through something right now.
Yeah, he is.
And they're going to some beating up his daughters and all that.
Man, get Marty's. Man.
They can be beating kids like that, man. Cut it out, Marty, man. Cut it out, Marty, man.
Something going. I pray it just like
he's on the news and all that, man. That ain't cool,
crazy.
man.
That's crazy.
I saw you.
But he's actually part of the reason why I came to Atlantic City is because he was my man. So
yeah.
I knew that I'd be able to get through a decent amount of red tape.
Right.
That people like us, can't, that obstacles that we ended up going into different cities. But yeah, so right now I'm opening up my cannabis dispensary. At the moment, I am producing the Wild and Out tour. With Nick Canning. It's awesome, man. We just sold out Atlanta. In Atlanta, we had Nardo Wick.
Nardo, I know Nardo nice.
Yeah,
I like Nardo. We got a couple joints.
Yeah, Lil BOOSIE was there, and Waka Flocka. Shit was nuts. And they did a tribute to the gentleman that passed away just a couple of weeks ago.
Fat Man?
No. In Atlanta.
Rich Homie Quan,
did an awesome tribute to Rich Homie Quan.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rip Michaels, man, for putting that on. He actually gave a sizable donation to Rich Homie Quan's family. We'll be in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center on the 11th of October. So please come and support that. I also just finished producing, yesterday was the last show, Fat Beats Records. Back in the day, there was a company, this guy named Joe, felt like record distribution was just not respected enough. So he opened up this record distribution company called Fat Beats that was down in the Village. Bunch of different artists have gone through there, Kanye's, the Commons, that tiny desk thing. That shit was Fat Beats back in the day, like back in the 90s, man. So fast forward 30 years later, this is their 30th anniversary. So we did a show in LA. I think Kool Keith, remember MC Ultra?
Yeah.
He headlined LA. We sold out LA. It was a bunch of dope ass artists in LA. And then just last night we did the old Highline Ballroom, which is called the Racket Club, and Talib Kweli headlined that. Talib Kweli and a DJ Premier headline that show, and that was awesome. So shout out to Fat Beats, the Fat Beats crew. So I just finished producing that, and I think we have about 6 more shows to produce on the Wild and Out tour. And I'm gonna continue growing, man, and continue building my relationships. And I just want to say that, for those of you who are, even if you're impressed with a little bit of my career, I didn't buy my way up here. I didn't kiss no ass to get up here. I just put the work in, and I held on, and I cultivated these relationships, and I just stayed good with everybody. I made sure I paid my bills, and
make sure your checks clear.
I make sure my checks clear, and shout out to a gentleman. His name is Carl Freed. Carl Freed is the one who actually put me on to producing concerts. He's the owner of Summer Jam with Hot 97. So I'm also one of the producers.
Relations, man. You got all the relationships, man. Come on,
yeah.
But
I'm gonna tell you what before you finish. I'm gonna tell you one relationship that I can tell you that really tells the story. Like a couple of years ago, there was a show called I produced the first Afro Beats show that came to New York City called One Africa Fest. Right. Myself and my boy Adisa actually named that show. The owner, Paulo, is a billionaire from Africa, and he wanted to come to New York and produce this Afrobeat show. He did a bunch of Afrobeat shows in Africa, and he wanted to come here and produce a show. Well, Paulo, even though he had $1 billion on paper, you could show it. Madison Square Garden, Barclays, none of them wouldn't fuck with him. You know who got him in the building? Me.
There you go.
He had to pay me to get in the building.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that was because the Barclays Center in Madison Square Garden, that I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And they know that it's not about how much money you have, and it's about you knowing what to do with our building. We can't afford a show that's gonna come down late. We can't afford a show that's not gonna be produced correctly, because at the end of the day, you know, somebody goes to a show and say that show is on some bullshit. They're gonna say, oh, that show at Madison Square Garden was some bullshit.
100%.
That show at Barclays Center was some
brand.
bullshit.
It's all about the
You feel
brand.
me? So they're not gonna play with their brand. So even though this
Yeah.
man was worth $1 billion,
Yeah.
$1 billion
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
he couldn't get the building.
Right.
And so I say all that to say the reason why I was able to call and get the building was strictly off relationships.
Right.
And you know, if I want to call up to Madison Square Garden right now, I call the general manager of Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as a matter of fact, one of the high level executives, his name is Darren. He was one of the executives over at Power 105. I met him at Power 105. We kept an awesome relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The man is a like number 3, 4 in Madison Square Garden. So anytime I need any of those buildings, I don't need to use anybody else's relationships to get into these buildings.
No.
I can get them to them myself.
Yeah.
But it was literally based on the idea. One day I walked in, I had produced another show for this company called the Black Promoter Collective. And they at Madison Square Garden. And when I walked into the room, the vice president, Randy Figber is his name. He was sitting there with all his executives.
Mm-hmm.
And I had produced a show for Bathing Ape.
Yeah, Bathing Ape.
So I produced their 25-year anniversary show at the theater at Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember walking in the door, and mind you, at this time, I'm just a worker. I'm just working the show. So even though I also sit on the highest level on the totem pole when I'm producing the concert, I'm not mad at being what's called a talent wrangler, or being the lowest dude on the totem pole and just running to go get talent, right? Which is pretty much the lowest guy on the totem pole. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna get the cash. Like, $750, that's my day rate. $750, make sure my money right.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell me where the talent is. I'm gonna go get the talent.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, as the talent wrangler, I walk in the room, and Randy's sitting there with his executives. He was like, Lenny! And everybody looked around like, what the fuck? Why does Randy know this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And he introduced me to his executives as, yo, man, this guy right here is one of the guys that threw one of the most awesome shows that Madison Square Garden ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that shit made me feel like I was on a like I was so high after that, to know that
Madison Square Garden is big, man.
Is a very big deal, right?
Yeah.
So that happened because I did the show correctly. I came up on time and I went down on time. And everything I said I was going to deliver, I delivered. So now, anytime I need anything from Madison Square Garden, a ticket or whatever, I call Randy. I don't gotta go to Ticketmaster.
Right.
You feel me? But those are due to relationships. Same with MetLife Stadium. I built my relationships in MetLife Stadium of vast. So I do my best to like cultivate these relationships and hold on to them. Please. The one thing, if you don't learn from this interview, is please understand that you can be a rapper, a singer. You know, one of the things I told Fetty Wap was, I know you're popping right now, bro, but think of yourself as a rock, and you have this slingshot, and you take this slingshot, you hold it back, and you shoot that shit in the air. And that's exactly what you did, Fetty. You a fucking rock that shot up in the air, nigga. You put out your first album, nigga, and your shit is diamond, nigga. You feel me? So like you shot up in the air as high as you can go. I said, but as you on your way up, make sure you cultivate those relationships. Because when you're on your way down,
you're gonna need them relationships.
You feel me? So that's the one thing I want to push out there to anybody that's getting into business, that's want to be an artist, that wants to do anything in life, man. When you get into business or want to be an artist or whatever, make sure you cultivate your relationships. Make sure that when you get on your first tour and somebody wants an autograph, you sign that fucking autograph, man.
That's right. Don't be
somebody want to take a picture
new,
with you. Take the picture.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Because there's gonna come a time when nobody want to take a picture with you. Man.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Nobody's
gonna care.
That's facts right there. He's giving y'all some jewels right now.
So you know, make sure, man, because I know for a fact that when we was on that tour, Fetty didn't want to go take pictures. Fetty didn't want to go to the radio stations and go and go do interviews and shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, fam. One time I had to go on a bus and be like, yo, fam, you gotta get out there and take these pictures. He's like, yo, nobody told me about this shit. I was like, I don't give a fuck if anybody told you about that shit, man. There's about 50 people outside that pay good money to take a picture with you, man.
Yeah.
Go out there and take them pictures with them.
That's right.
And he went out and took the pictures. But you know, I say all that to say, like that catapult, that rock that went up in the sky, man. You know, when you coming down and you don't have a huge hit, but you need one of these PDs to play your record.
Yeah.
You just need them to play your record, right?
You ain't want to do that.
You ain't want to go. You ain't want to do that interview
But
and,
think
kiss,
about it,
and meet that kid.
Yeah,
but think about
Fetty
Fetty
like,
right now, though.
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But think about Fetty, right? You talking about Fetty? He caught a case, right?
Yes.
Caught a Fed case. So when you come out of the feds, you gonna have to,
Start
reboot your career
all
again.
over.
So the relations, if you did what he said at the time
Facts.
with them photos and all that other, stuff, people gonna be like, "Yo, you back? All right, let's talk."
Let's talk.
But when you on some sucker shit, nigga gonna turn
They
their
said
back on you.
that I don't know.
Know what
They
I'm saying?
saying that's why Dame Dash in the situation he in. They said he don't have no relationships, and also
He claim he do though, but go ahead.
the thing with Fetty Wap, I haven't seen that one person go to jail and come home and be back there. Everybody when they go to jail is like over.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Like
it's hard.
I ain't meeting out
Like Bobby Smurder, he
like
went away and he came
Smurder.
back and he trying to jump around, and Quavo signed him, but he's still playing the old records. He ain't come out with the
But he did. But what Bobby
Nobody
did.
that did a
I'll
couple
tell you the
years.
difference between Bobby though. Bobby went and diversified his portfolio.
Yeah, he did.
So Bobby went and started doing business.
Yeah, he
He
did.
doing
He did.
business,
Yeah, he did.
He doing real estate deals.
Yeah, he
and
is.
doing
Yes.
other shit.
He got
You feel
smart
me?
and he's humble.
So-
He's
so-
not
so-
wild like he
back-
was.
and he was wild. And
He's not wild like he was. 'Cause we spent time around.
I don't know no one
Yeah.
in the streets got locked up to do what that nigga did for his man. That nigga took more years for his man.
Yeah,
You feel me?
yeah, right.
And I heard they not even speaking now. I heard they not even cool no
That's
more.
their business.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know nobody. I've been around for a very long time
Yeah.
that has done that shit. And the other thing that I'll tell everybody is that and this goes out to to all the youngins that are out there in the street doing what you do, right? One thing that people can say about me is that when I was cutting hair, and every hustler, I cut a lot of niggas, I cut a lot of hustlers, I cut a lot of niggas that was doing some real bad things out here in these streets. You feel me? But they was making money, right? But the one thing I would tell them was like, yo, bro, you do know you a business, right? You're out here selling coke, you're out here selling whatever you're selling, but you're a business, G. You got books, right? You know who owe you, right? You know how much work you got on the street, right? Yo, you could do that same shit with t-shirts. You feel me? So I say all that to say, like, a lot of people think that when you get in these streets and you start slinging and whatever, that's it. That's all you got.
No.
Well, if you could figure out that business, right? You can figure out any business.
100%.
That's no bullshit, right?
Yeah,
So I didn't just come on here to talk about my story. Like, I really want to be influential to my community. You feel me?
That's
I
what
want
it's
us to
about.
start. I want us to start regrouping and grouping up together and taking what's ours, because folks are scared of us. You feel me? And in every sports, music, everything, we the top dogs. We're
100%.
smarter than everybody else.
All that.
All the scholars, the inventors.
They want to be us.
They want to be us, and we don't take heed to that.
Yeah, they want to be us.
So I just my goal is that from hearing about all the stars and all the success and all the different doors that I've opened for myself, I'm doing my best till I die to be humble. I'm going to do my best to go out to speak to every kid that's in the street that doesn't have a way, and I want to talk to them, and I want to let them know that I was once you feel me? I didn't have to. I could have went in another direction, but if you don't go in the right direction, bro, you're not going to be here to live to be 55 and be able to sit here and kick it with your comrades that been around just as long as you have. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that I want to push out there is that cultivate your relationships, hold on to them, man, and don't fuck them up, because we all we got. Like, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, we all we got.
Yeah.
I didn't see you to come up to do this. I see you all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I came to you. I was going to the store next door, and you saw me, and that's why I'm here, right?
Right.
But there's a thing, like, me and you saw you ain't even thinking about it, but you could have called me anytime.
Anytime.
Matter of fact, I want to tell the story.
Okay.
It's a real one.
All right.
Because
Yeah.
I got into some shit somewhere, and I went to my man, and I was like, yo, I don't know who outside. I don't know whatever. I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Me and this, person has some beef. B was like, yo, man, fuck that. Let's go, B. I'm walking you to the car, man. Anybody fucking touching you, nigga.
Yeah.
Straight like that.
Straight
so
like that.
like that's no bullshit. And I
100%.
and I didn't know what was gonna come behind that. But I will say that, he was willing to do whatever with me.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was scared. I just didn't know what was on the other side of that door.
Well, let me tell you, the situation looked kind of shaky.
Yes.
Right? I saw the event. I saw what was going on from afar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, damn, Lenny like he having a little situation. I'm watching you the whole time.
Mhm.
You don't know. I'm watching you like And you know what I'm saying? We grew up, we always been cool. So I'm not gonna let nobody hurt a nigga that I know that's good with me. I wish you niggas do it for me. That's the nigga I am, man. I always been like that.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So when he came, and he saw me, he's like, yo, V. I was like, all right, I got you. Let's
Facts.
go. Let's move it. Let's do this.
Facts.
I ain't hesitated nothing, right?
Nope.
I don't know the nigga. I don't even know what your situation is.
He didn't.
I just got you. Let's go.
Facts.
Because of the history, relations once
That's
again.
a fact. Relationships.
Right? You know, our relations always been cool. We ain't never had an argument. I've seen him when he was younger till now. Proud of him. He's always been a doer. He's always been self-motivated, but never been flashy. But a cool ass nigga and very likable. And I know him. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, I just say, yo, I got you. But you know, I know it, but I ain't gonna bring nothing up like that because I do it from the heart. But I did do that. You know what I'm saying?
So I just want to let you know I appreciate that.
Yeah.
On record. Yeah, man, that's really my purpose. Even when you came and told me about the interview, I was like, yo, I don't want to just talk about the glitz and the glamour of shit. You feel me? I want to send out a message, and I want people to understand that, you know, it wasn't hard to get to. I mean, it was very hard to get to where I was, but where I am. But I still do have another side to my life that I can't wait to get to. I'm not done yet. You dig? And my relationships are what's going to get me to where I need to be, to my sense of bliss, where I feel like I made it. I'm happy. I ain't got, you know what I'm saying? My money making my money for me. And, you know, I feel like I'm raising my kids right. And all this. Like, that's where I'm on my way to. But as of right now, I am cultivating these relationships. I want everyone to really, really, really hear the words that come out of my mouth, man. Like, please, man, like, cultivate your relationships. Call your family, call your brothers, one more thing I want to say to all you deadbeat fucking dads. And, you know, please stop the shit. Like, you see what's going on out here in these streets, my nigga. Like, we need to be fathers to our kids. I'm not saying the mothers don't need to be mothers, but we need to be fathers to our children, man. Right. Like that's some real shit. Please, man, if you don't do anything else, you know, do your best to make up with your baby moms that you ain't talking to, that you diverting from taking care of your kids because you and the mom got some beef. And mom ain't got nothing to do with that. You planted that seed, make sure you take care of that seed so that seed can rock out on their own, man. Like, I found out that I had a daughter 32 years later. No bullshit.
How long ago was this?
2 years. 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
My mom, she took her name is Skylar. God, thank you, I love you, Skylar. But I thought I only had 2 kids. I found out 2 years ago that I had another child from a one night stand in college. Right. The day after I knew she was my daughter, she was my daughter. You dig? We picked up right then. It was nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that same year, she was at my family reunion. My whole family opened their arms to her. You feel me? But that's how it's supposed to be, man. We gotta take care of ours, man.
Yeah, you 100%.
So that's a hell of a story right there. So with that, how that come about? How you meet her?
My daughter, she went Ancestry DNA. I think that's the name of the Ancestry.com or whatever.
Yeah, Ancestry.
And my mother was at the time building up our family reunion. So she was trying to find all our family. And she I'm not on Ancestry, but she is. And her and my daughter and my dad and my uncles and my cousins and my aunts matched with my daughter on Ancestry. And she called my mom. Somehow they ended up talking. And she called my mom and she told my mom that my mom found out that she was my daughter, and they spoke. That next day, my mom called me like, yo, you sitting down? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting down, Ma. She's like, you have a daughter. And I'm like, I know I have a daughter. Her name is Croy. I got a daughter. She's like, no. You got another daughter. Her name is Skylar. And her mom was and she's from Norfolk, Virginia. And I'm like, oh shit. I said, Mom, she is, man. I said, I did. I slept with her mother one time. And we never ended up talking. Me and her mom, I think we spoke one time. But she was actually dating. She actually thought another gentleman was her father for quite some time until he passed away. A guy named Butter that was also my friend. So I never even told Butter that I had been with his girl. It didn't matter at that point. He was with her. He was raising his kid, and Butter had an untimely death, and he was wild for the night. But he took an untimely death, and we just never was able. She looked for me for quite some time. I think she asked her mom, she's not feeling right because she's never met any of her family from Butter. And mother came clean and was like, that's not your real dad. Your dad's name is Lenny. I think he's a barber, but I don't know where he lives. And she went searching for a guy named Lenny that was a barber for almost 2 years and couldn't find me. And because her so this is God, her husband at the time, I mean, her husband now, they do a swap every, I want to say Black Friday. He give $100, she gives them $100 so they could go buy whatever they want. It's the tradition they started. And she took $100 and went and bought the Ancestry.com thing, and she went on there and she found it. And so since then,
so you don't have to take a blood test?
I never took anything after. There was no need, because initially I said, "Mom, I gotta take a blood test." She was like, "You can do whatever you want. That's your daughter. Like, ain't no way
Mom
that
knows,
she gonna,
man.
ain't no way that she gonna match with me,
Mom
your
knows.
dad, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. You know what I'm saying? And you saying you did sleep with them. I'm like, that's your daughter. So I never even, it was even, and the funny thing is, I tell some people this story, and they're like, yo, I would have just backed up off of that. I'm like, why?
You gotta be kidding.
For what?
At 32,
That's
like,
that's some sucker shit.
Yeah, I ain't backing up on.
For what? Like,
if it's mine, it's mine.
If it's mine, it's mine. We're gonna figure it out. Whether I got $1 or 100,000, I'm gonna figure it out. Right. So, since then that's my daughter. I love her. She's a part of my family. My daughter, my daughter Croy, my son Nareen, and now they got a new sister. Yeah. She got 2 new brothers. I found out that I'm a grandfather. You know what I'm saying? She had a kid. She has a son, Braden. I love my grandson. We spend as much time as we can together. And I am doing my best to walk in a righteous path and to have people understand that it is not hard to just love your loved ones and be a real person. Do your best to walk righteous. As long as you don't do no bullshit, like, you will prosper and God will take care of you, and you will, no matter what, you're gonna have hills, you're gonna have valleys, you're gonna have times where you ain't got shit. Right. Because I'm a hustler, so I've been super low, but I've also been super high. Right. So but I do my best to cultivate these relationships and to hold on to them. So my message is, please cultivate these relationships.
Thank you for coming to the show.
Continue on. Please look out for my
very powerful interview.
Please look out for me. My name is Lenny The Barber, at Lenny The Barber on Instagram. If you want to get in touch with me, hit me on Instagram, DM me. You can find me. I mean, I'm not hard to find. Also on Facebook, Lenny The Barber, or I'm Lenny Hansen. And I thank you guys for giving me this platform to
100%,
tell
man.
my story.
Like I said, man,
yeah, man.
You should have been on here, but everything is about timing, and the time is right now. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So it's so good, man.
Appreciate y'all.
So before you go, man, what's the #1 Harlem podcast show, man?
Oh,
tell them what it is, man.
139.
Y'all know what it is.
Are you kidding me?
The Beat 139. Harlem's #1 podcast. Featuring Doc, Don Vito, and Keith Cash.